Oh, I got signature. Oops. All right. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day. Hope we enjoyed the first. We can begin with the next presentations for today. The first one is activity number 6 for Province of Drenthe, site visit to a pollinator-friendly solar farm in the Netherlands. You ready? I'm sure you are.
Let's see. This is probably the workshop that you guys are going to do. The presentation is about the activity overview and the objectives, the site visit that we're going to organize, the input paper that we're going to write, I think, and the lessons learned and the timeline. Well, the title is actually really long. Site visit to pollinator-friendly solar farm at Energietuin Asse-Zuid. Asse is the capital of Drenthe, so also where we work, where our office is. But apparently we also have a really nice pollinator-friendly solar farm. The deliverables will be an input paper and organization of the site visit and the lessons learned for a report. This is the solar farm that you guys are going to visit. You can see like a mowed path so that you don't have to mow everything at once. Good for your pollinators. And a really nice pond. It's good for your, what are they, dragonflies and damselflies. Let's see. The project partners will gain valuable insight into promoting the expansion of solar farms. It's also really interesting to see how they, if you go there, to see if they place their solar panels in a certain way, which could also be better for your pollinators. Let's see, prioritizing pollinator-friendly practices at all stages of solar farms. That is probably the goal of the work site. Like, how do you do that? How do you prioritize that? Partners will exchange ideas, integration to their territories, solar parks. Okay, so these are the discussions that you guys will focus on during the activities, applying AI-supported cumulative impacts assessments, establishing a pollinator mitigation hierarchy, defining requirements for effective EMP in solar parks, strengthening the implementation of biodiversity offset projects, planning and implementing life restoration measures, and promoting pollinator-friendly land management practices. So it's quite a lot you guys are going to discuss and focus on. The input paper, that will be 4 things, if I see it correctly. Identification of and assessment of good practices, the outline of current trends regarding environmental impact assessments, provision of information on the sites to be visited, and development of the sites and the organizational guidelines. That's actually quite interesting how they develop the site. Well, this will be the lessons learned reports. 3 things: the description of the site visits, the analysis of the main insights of all the points you guys are going to discuss, and presenting the lessons that you guys learned. And this will be the timeline. The input paper will be in May 26th, and on June 26th, you guys will have the participation and the site visit workshop, and then in September 2026, you guys will have the lessons learned report. And that will be it. Are there questions? I can't answer them, but are there questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the nice pictures, giving us a better idea of what we're going to do. Right. Shall we continue with activity 8 and the site visit to Pollinator Park?
Good morning, everyone. just a small thing. Daria texted me to say hi to everyone and thank you for the nice evening. So, and especially thanks to Costas for the bus ticket. She was happy. Okay, so we will be welcoming you in Belgium by the end of in semester 6, which will be the end of 2026, beginning of 27. I do not have any pictures of the site we are right now because we are still setting it up, but I will inform you about the procedure and the things you may expect of us. Yes, you know the drill, obviously. I just stick to this PowerPoint, but for you, I think it is important that we will mainly focus on a living lab where we can show you how we do the management of the sites, the grasslands and the roadsides, how we implement pollinator-friendly mowing practices, how we implement landscape elements in order to improve the habitats of pollinators, and what actions we take to connect living areas. We do all those kind of things, and it's also interesting for you to see them. And I believe it was the partners from the Park Dinarides. Did you talk about the possibility to, or the difficulties you had to monitor insect populations, or was it another part? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, well, actually, we are setting up several transect walks, so it might be interesting for you to see. We are finding solutions for the problems concerning monitoring of insects, so that might be a very interesting exchange. So, well, we will show you the transect walks, of course, not live because it is a bad time of the year. It will be spring, not spring, autumn and winter time, but we can show you how we approach this. Okay, let me just see the timeline. We will provide you with all information on our living lab, description of the site, the management we apply, measures we take for small landscape elements, also the approach of our stakeholders, how we involve people of all kinds into the project, specifically farmers, general public, municipalities as well. I already mentioned farmers, but also companies, nature organizations, all these people are involved. So we will share lessons learned, show you how we do it, and listen to any good practices you have to offer. So we will give you this input paper. That would be a bit of homework for you to read so you can start this workshop well prepared and make the most of it. We will welcome you in February of 2027, show you around, something like that, yeah. You are all very, very welcome. We will show you around and do the workshop and participation trajectory. And we will integrate everything in a lessons learned report by March 2027. Are there any questions?
No, I think we're just eager to visit.
Sarah has a question.
Is it on? He's trying to fix it for us.
Doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it works.
Yeah. You just said that you guys were not going to visit the actual sites because of the bad season, but you are all going to West Flanders and show them around, or is that not?
Well, I think we will actually go and visit the sites, although there will not be much to see because of vegetation. It will be wintertime, so we will actually go there because it has an advantage to see it in practice. But we will mainly give you information on the approach, what we do when there is plants and bees present.
That's super interesting.
Yes. Oh, it will be. You will enjoy.
Well, I will ask my colleague. You come.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. I will proceed actually to do the next presentation. Since Daria is not with us today from Municipality of Mangush. I will do the Activity 12 presentation. Okay. So we go on with Activity 12, peer review meetings of Pollinate Partners territorial policy changes. It's going to be one of the last activities. And we'll go through, obviously, the deliverables and the input paper and summary report. And again, the activity timeline. The two deliverables for this activity are, again, an input paper development, which will include the most important aspect for this part, the peer review panel formation, and the summary report. Now, how will the input paper help us? It will provide the outline steps and the requirements for the formation of the peer review panel. The optimal peer review process will be determined based on relevant examples and the partner's needs. Tools and criteria will be developed to facilitate this process, this peer review process, and they will be provided. The main results and the conclusion from the interregional policy learning activities from all the previous activities from 1 until 11, and the stakeholder meetings will be outlined. So we have a general overview present. And for the evaluation of the achieved policy changes, we will have guidelines and criteria provided. Now, what will this panel do? Basically, it will consist of 2 staff members from each organization, from each partner, with experience in biodiversity governance. What they will do is undertake the implementation of joint peer review procedures, and there will be the guidelines for how to do this. And their role is to assess policy changes made by project partners in their policy instruments. So kind of have an overview of what organizations will do in their policy instruments. And they will ensure actually the capitalization of the project results in participating territories and regions. So it will be, I think, a pretty fun activity, just to have a general overview of the whole project. It will be enjoyable. The summary report will present now the main contributions and views of the participants. And there will be a summary of partner-specific recommendations. So for each partner, for their needs and for their gaps that will be found, we will have recommendations for further improvements in their policy instruments. So they get an extra helping hand. Now, the input paper is going to be out by November 2027. And preferably, we would like to have the peer review panel formed by December 27. So they have the time ahead of themselves to actually go through all the activities, see what each partner needs, and get a general overview of the situation that will have formed by then. So if that is formed by December 2027, which would be the ideal case, we would like the summary report to be out by April 2027. So this way, no. Oh, 28, that would be. Yeah. Okay. Still, in the months, I think that is the most important. We would like to have it in April 2028. And that is because it will be one of the last activities of the project. So actually giving the extra helping hand to partners that need it the most will actually help them implement what we have suggested throughout the whole project, since it will have an overview of all the previous activities and provide recommendations to those who need it the most. Yeah. And I think that is that for activity 12. And for now, we have a quick coffee break if you need it, because then we are going to have the 2 major presentations for today, which are quite important, and you'll have to bear with me because I'm going to be talking for 40 minutes in a row. Yes, of course. Panel?
It's fine. It's not during the whole project.
No. Yes, because we would like ideally to have the recommendations, the good practices developed throughout the project. So we would like to have the overview of this whole idea that will have formed by then. In the sense, we would like to have an overview of what has happened in the previous 11 activities and see who needs what the most and why. So we need this kind of experience with the partners, with their territories, with their needs and in their regions to see where we need to step in the most. That's why it is kept as a last resource and activity, let's say. Yeah, that's why I was stressing out that ideally, if the panel is formed as soon as possible in the year, so December 2027, and then by April 2028, we will have given them at least 3.5 months, excluding Christmas holidays and all that, to work on the needs and what they need to recommend further at least to the ones that need it the most. So I think that will be enough time for them, and then afterwards to produce the report, obviously. Still, I do find it a bit tight, but I think in 3.5 months it should be possible. Yeah, exactly. And then it's 2 members, so it's not all work on one person. So it should be plausible. We all right? Okay. Are we still awake? Should I proceed with the project management presentation instead of stopping and starting again and settling in? Yeah? Okay. Then we go on. Μπορώ να πάμε στην επόμενη παρουσίαση, παρακαλώ. Την 4. Τέλεια. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. So going further on, this is a presentation about the PM, the project management of the Pollinate project, and it will include the contracts. You're right. The contracts that will be part of the project, the agreements, how we will coordinate, what tools are we going to use, what is the role of the activity leaders within the project, and the financials. The financials we will go through in a different presentation, but I'll just touch it briefly. So what we will go through today is the agreement, the partnership agreement that we've already talked about, and the document, the subsidy contract as well, the bodies that are used and the decision-making processes, the day-to-day coordination, how we ensure quality and assurance, and the well-developed online collaboration platform that we're going to use. We also discussed about this last night on the dinner table, but we'll see more now. Regarding the subsidy contract, basically, you can refer to this in the group of documentation that's been sent to you. It determines rights and obligations and always refers to the application form. So it's the Annex 1 of the contract. It is always prepared by the managing authority and it has to be signed by them and the lead partner. That is the general procedure. Now, the partnership agreement consists of the application form, subsidy contract, the budget and spending plan, and the output per partner, which you have already received as a file. Annex 4, the external expertise breakdown, and the 5th annex, distribution of preparation costs. So this is also signed mandatorily by the lead partner and all project partners. That's why we're all exchanging the partnership agreement documentation. But beware that only the project partners that have actually signed the PA are allowed to report expenditure for the project. So if you by the end of the semester have not signed the PA, you are not allowed to report and obviously receive back for your expenditure. Now, as you know, Regional Peloponnese will perform the project management and the coordination. And what does that entail? There is a project coordinator which is assigned as a contact point with the JS, and their role is to guide the partners throughout if they have any questions, if that means filling documentation or for activities. They cover all points and coordinate the day-to-day, whether that is a workshop, a site visit, a report, a best practice collection, all. Also, they coordinate the steering group meetings, and also the structure has to follow as such. There needs to be a financial manager, ensuring the compliance with the project's budget, monitor the processes, and handle financial inquiries. There needs to be a communication manager at every point, and all activities need to be coordinated by the respective activity leader. Now, details regarding decision-making are defined in the PA, but you can always, whenever having any questions, you can refer to the project coordinator. Now let's go through, since we've seen already all the activities that are going to be conducted throughout the project, we have kind of color coordinated activities. So you can see that we have 3 activities, and that would be activity 1, 3, and 5, which are for joint analysis and reports. We have 4 and 2, 3, 7 workshops conducted, and that would be activity 2, 4, 7, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we do have 2 nice site visits. These are all described in a very detailed manner in the Annex 3 of the partnership agreement, the list of tasks for every partner and what they are supposed to do. This way, they know who's responsible to coordinate which activity, and I'm sure you know already, but it is a nice way of having a list, and this is also going to be described in the operational work plan. But you already have the Annex 3 of the PA. Again, reporting for all activities to the project coordinator. And obviously, we have all partners, the organization of the regional stakeholder meetings, and that would be the A2 category. And we do have Province of West Flanders being the communication activity leader. Yeah, so the coordination of all activities needs to have a continuous monitoring of the project's tasks and the progress that is being conducted, and controlling the efficiency of their execution. So it is the coordinator's responsibility to ensure that all tasks are going to be delivered on time, and that's to warn in case of delays for the deliveries. Ensuring again that milestones and final outputs are fulfilled, and if needed, to organize meetings and determine measures to be taken when things are getting stalled or forgotten or whatever you need. Now, they also ensure that the documentation for each activity will be loaded on a collaborative platform, and I'm sure I've mentioned this multiple times to several of you already, that everything produced on the project will be uploaded on the collaborative platform, and we'll explain more about this. This includes presentations, photographs, reports, even the registration forms from all the meetings. Everything produced within the project needs to be uploaded, and even as a proof that a meeting was conducted, but also to keep track and records for dates, signatures, participants, everything. And the coordination also requires that any request for changes when it comes to budget shifts needs to be communicated to the coordinator, and to go through for them to understand why that happens, because they will need it to explain it further. Now, what happens when the changes need to be made and issues occur? We have 2 categories in the program and for the JS. We have the minor changes and we have the major changes. Now, there are rules, and all this is explained thoroughly in the manual of the project, which applies to all projects of the Interreg. But we also have them here for us to go through. So when a budget change needs to be performed in between partners, there is a flexibility rule stating that it can be up to 20% of the budget, of the partner's budget. Now, between categories, between cost categories, then the budget changes of a respective partner, it can occur, but it needs to be justified both to the LP and then also to the JS. Now, the minor partner changes, such as name changes or legal succession with full continuity, are also in this category, whereas the major changes need the approval by JS. Minor just need to be justified, told to the LP, and the LP will also take this change to the JS, but that's it. The major ones need to be approved by the authority. Yeah. No, shoot. In between cost categories of this will be of the same partner. So in between, no. Some changes. But always you need to take this to the LP first, because that will need to be explained how and why and when, and specifically the why, I think. Now, again, for the major changes, anything above 20% in the project's lifetime will need to be approved and taken to JS for a final okay. Core activity changes, partnership changes, and the duration of the project also need, if needed to be changed, approval by the JS. And we will go through the timeline of when we will meet with the JS and what kind of reporting will be done throughout the project with dates according to the duration of our project from May to October and from November to April. And now, having the day-to-day coordination ensures that we can guide all partners to handle the issues correctly. And basically, the tools that we're going to use for this and to keep track of everything that needs to be conducted is by having the operational work plan. We saw this yesterday, how it will look like, the detailed list of all tasks for all partners in the 3 pillars and categories. I'm sure you remember how it looks like. We will have the online project management platform to set our deadlines and monitor the project for the resources, and we will have the shared storage space for us all to upload what needs to be up on the platform. We will have the our online communication hub, obviously, and we have 8 partnership meetings aside from the monthly catch-up meetings that we're going to conduct. And obviously, communication via email and web conferencing whenever necessary and as much as we wish. Now, the coordination body that usually used in the projects is having project management within each organization appointed by your organization, following the procedures of the program, ensuring quality, and doing a risk management. And basically the coordinating your organization's input into the project. Okay, so the contractual documents are already mentioned, the application form, partnership agreement, and its annexes, which you have received, and the subsidy contract. So I'm going to go through this a bit quickly because we've already discussed this. We do need to have a complete contact list, and I have mentioned this to several of you before. So we would like to have all your emails and names, to have them on the platform and have a complete contact list of who is on the project actively and their assigned roles, because the online platform from the Interreg has a list of the participants as users for the project. So by email, name, and their role. And again, we'll see pictures of this as screenshots from the portal, so it doesn't sound like gibberish for me. Okay. Yeah. You need for your organization that you are participating into the project.
There's no that you are dedicated staff to the project or financial reporting?
Well, the thing is, you do need your task assignment letter, if that's what you're referring to. We also will go through this because obviously, yes, it is necessary. And we'll go through this in the next presentation. So bear with me, I have screenshots and we'll explain the whole process. Just wait for it. Okay, so what we do require, what we do need, I'm stating the obvious here, but it needs to be said, that all deliverables need to be original. We ensure that they're not copied from other sources. We would not like to see that we have taken things from other projects and just copy and pasted. And we do need, whenever we have used references, to enlist them, to include them in the deliverables whenever we take information from other sources. And we would like to ensure that the activity leaders for each activity are actually actively involved in their activity. Ideally, we would not like to have to chase people. Please perform your activities. Please perform your tasks. We would like them to be on top of their activities. And again, I'm sure I'm stating the obvious, but also quality needs to be high and deliverables to be coherent. Now, what we do need when it comes to comparing to the application form, we need to have completed deliverables containing all the required chapters according to what is required by the AF. The application form is our Bible. And we need to have information language check and to be consistent with all other requirements if there is dependency between the activities. Now, as we discussed last night during dinner as well, so the online collaborative platform that we have chosen is called FreedCamp. Now, we've used it because it's user-friendly. We have experience with it. It has a variety of functionalities. It gives us shared space to upload. Obviously, it's cost-free. And it allows us to have, within one activity, shared tasks, subtasks. It allows discussions and forums if we do not choose to communicate via email. And it allows us, obviously, to manage our files, have a calendar, notifies us via email, discuss deadlines, milestones, and whatever necessary. What we would like from you is to make sure you have given us an updated email. We have the correct contact so we can actually add you to the FreedCamp platform so you can have your access. You can browse it and see how it functions, how it works. And you can, when time comes, upload whatever you need to upload. Right. That was that. Let me know if you have any other questions. You're good? Okay. Okay. Should we get a break if anybody needs it? Should I just go on? There should be a coffee break arranged. Go on? Good. Take the Band-Aid off. That's that. I don't get off of this podium. Okay. So this is I think the heaviest presentation of all. There are several slides here for us to go through about the progress and the financial reporting. We're going to go through the rules and processes on how we do this, why we do this, and when. So we're going to have an overview. Oh, can I? Yes, thank you. All right. So again, we're going to have an overview of the progress and financial reporting. List of expenditures, the summary and the activity summary, what kind of documentation we will need for different cost categories, what to make sure we have uploaded and ready to explain. We're going to go through the policy reports, the joint reports, and spending plans, and the important deadlines for the first progress report of the project. So this is just a quick table to show the major deadlines for our semesters. So we've mentioned this several times by now. Project beginning May 2025, ending the 31st of October, and the following semesters are listed there. The final sixth semester ends by April 2028, and the follow-up phase reaches until April 2029, with closure phase ending July 2029. So this is a table from the platform of the project, from Interact platform, stating the overview of our budget. Basically, we have a total project budget of 1.475, and the Interact funds, for those that cannot see down here, is 1.1 million euros. So you can see the numbers for your organizations. You can see the total partner budget at the end of the last column for all of us. And for this, you will have access on this platform, if not already, if somebody has participated in other projects in the past. But this is how it will look like, and you will have access to it. So the progress report basically functions as a tool to monitor what has been done each semester. Because what happens is we have the application form, which states what we should be doing in the first place. So what happens in the progress report is we go and compare what was planned we should do and what we actually did. So the basic principle of reporting is to check the activities and the outputs reported against what was originally agreed that all partners should do. So the aim is to provide to the JS as much information as possible about what was conducted and what we gained and what we had as an output from all the activities, all the lessons learned and the results achieved. So we need to provide as precise information, as the most precise information we can, as much as possible. We can also use, for instance, for good practices, we can also use the project's website to upload nice outcomes and good practices that are going to be seen and decided within the project. And we can also use tools such as exchange of ad hoc with a lead partner and partners, online meetings, virtual meetings, phone conferences, and obviously, one of the most important tools and sources of information for our project will be the midterm review meeting. And again, this one is outlined further on. So as a general rule, when a semester ends, in our case for the first semester, the 31st of October, we have 3 months after the end of the reporting period to submit our reports. So that gives us until the 1st of February 2026 as a final deadline to submit our report to JS. And again, the following semesters have their own timeline. Again, every time each semester ends, we have 3 months. What practically this means is that our midterm review is happening for progress report 4. And once we submit that, we'll have a meeting with a JS arranged with a lead partner, and we'll have an overall review of how things went in the previous semesters and what has happened so far and what is the plan so forth. Now, regarding the procedure overview, how things are conducted, each and every one of you basically compiles a financial report at the end of each semester and also a policy report. So you're going to have to provide by the end of the semester 2 things, a policy report and a financial report. Financial part consists of an activities summary, what has been implemented during the project and the respective time period, and what has been paid. So what have you spent, basically, during the semester and the respective reported period. And your report is going to be checked by the FOC. I'm going to mention this again later on, but I'll just repeat this now so that we have heard it as much as possible. It is better to go take your financial report through the LP first. So you don't have to, if something needs to be changed, to go forth from the FLC to reject it, to get it back to the LP. So it's better to keep the your financials through the LP before your FLCs, so you know that everything is on track before actually submitting it. What happens is that once all partners have their reports, then the LP actually takes a joint report by all partners and makes the whole progress report for the respective period. And then this joint progress report is checked and approved by the JS. And once approved, then we get the funding to the LP and then to the respective partners for their expenditure. You can always check this reporting process on the portal, as mentioned, of the Interreg Europe. We have mentioned the first deadline, 1st of February, as the last timeline. So let's go through the steps that need to be taken once more. Each partner makes a financial report and also a policy report at the end of each semester for their respective reporting period. What you need to do once you have performed your financial report, once you have conducted this, you need to submit it to your controller to have it certified. Once you have your certified financial report, then you need to officially submit it to the LP. Again, it may save you some time to have it first to your LP and then to the FOC, just in case you need further justification or approval to make sure that everything is online and on track. Once your financial report is certified by your controller and submitted to the LP, you can also submit your policy report to the LP so that the lead partner can just compile all of these reports into one joint progress report, which will be submitted to the JS. Once JS receives this, it will take some time to check it, go through it, approve it, best case scenario. They usually have some comments and there are some questions asked. And this all happens online on the Interreg Europe platform. So this is why we mention again and again that it's nice to be as precise as possible and to provide as much information as possible, so to avoid having questions asked back and forth for further details and to be more explanatory by the JS. Now, just to make things a little bit more clear, we have a timeline set up. So for the first semester, taking a bit into the second semester, since we have some 3 months into the second semester. So for the first semester, the first reporting period, it would be wise to get your controller as soon as possible. I can see the smile coming in from experience. I can see the smile forming. Yes. I can recognize the experienced eye. So yes, it would be wise to get your financial controller in as soon as possible. And you can also check the website for your own country and to prepare your task assignment letters with the percentage of the staff members and what time will be used to dedicate to the project. So the semester ends end of October. You should be collecting your financial evidence and completing the list of expenditures in the first days of November, because at the same time, you need to write your activities summary and obviously the policy report. So it would be good for the LP to have all activity summaries listed from all partners and received from all partners, and the list of expenditures in order to send feedback if necessary. And then you're required by December to send your report to the FLCs. And I'm saying this because then we have obviously Christmas holidays and all. So by the end of January, we have to have confirmations for the reports submitted, and we have to have the time to go through the summaries and the policy reports by all partners. And it usually takes some time. Right. So the second level of control is a validation of the report. And by end of January, we have to have the final versions submitted to the LP, check compiled in order to create the final project reports that will include the input from all partners. And the deadline for us to submit the final compiled project report from us, meaning the LP, is the 1st of February. Again, if we have to stall for any reason, we have to provide justification to the JS. And usually that is not well received, but yeah. So make sure we have everything on time. That's why we have the timeline. Make sure you get your FLCs in the project as soon as possible so you can have your questions asked. You can have your activity summaries written by November for us to check, go through, ask for more details, ask for further explanations, help you so we don't receive as many comments from the JS. Okay. Again, the financial reporting needs to be compiled by each partner, reviewed by the LP, and within 2 weeks after end of the reporting period, ideally, as we mentioned before. All your supporting documents is your FLC's task to go through and to upload them on the portal, the Interact portal. You need to have a list of your expenditures, procurements, provide the activity summary, and your policy report. So 2 different things. Now, yeah. The FLC as well.
Oh,
so if we return to the timeline, what we suggest, and we need to reassure people that we ensure that we have all information is by end of semester, then in November, in the first 2 weeks after the reporting period ends, it would be good that we have collected all evidence. We have written all the activity summaries and the progress reports. So we have time to get all information from all partners and have this loop of requesting information from everybody, going through all the documentation, both financial reports and policy reports. So we have time to have everything finished within January.
I was just thinking I need to arrange some dates with our FLC to make sure.
That would be a good idea.
I think that the first 2 weeks is only
The financial.
Yeah, they said the lead partner to review the lead summary, and then if the lead partner has no comments, then you can submit to your FLC. So you don't have to have your certificate in the 2 weeks until the end of the semester.
But if it has gone through the lead partner and they say it's okay, it's fine, then you can submit it to your FLC, because in general, the procedure says that you have to take it directly to your FLC, but then if the FLC sees or says it's okay and the LP sees some tiny things that needs to be changed, then the FLC needs to reject it and you need to just go through the whole process again. That's why we're saying that the LP is good to have checked it first and then take it to the FLC. And then once you have approval from both, you're good to go. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think you can overrule the FLC. The FLC's,
No, never overrule. Never overrule. Never overrule. Yes. Obviously not the supporting documentation. Exactly. That's why I'm saying not the supporting documentation. No. Exactly. That's what we are saying here. That's the supporting documentation is the FLC's task. We cannot see the supporting. Precisely. No, you're not going to overrule the FLC. It's just that if you see something described that it doesn't really match, yeah. Well, it does. But that's not always the case in our experience. That is the issue. That is the issue. And what we see usually happening is that partners take it directly to the FLC, then the LP sees something, but they cannot overrule the FLC. So the FLC needs to reject it first. So the LP needs to go through all the information again. So it's an unnecessary loop. That's why this is just a suggestion at the end of the day. Yeah.
Detailed description, so the JS would come with clarifications and ask the department, so it's better to have it already done. Because we can show to the interviewer, but we know how to report things, so they will not come back with clarification.
Just trying to avoid an unnecessary loop.
Yes, like November or October, an online meeting on what the description should be, because that's very precise, but say.
Yeah.
You have to say in the lines, you have to say, we were in Kalamata with so many persons, and they were external, and they were staff, and that should be, maybe it's suggested to do in October. So
Yeah.
workshop.
I have several screenshots of the actual platform and how things should be reported, but obviously it's months ahead of us
Yeah,
and
that's-
people are going to forget. Yes, I absolutely agree. And
maybe-
just another round. Don't see why not, actually. Yeah. That's a good suggestion. Yeah, we can do it because it's obviously like 5 months ahead of us. Gladly. No, not now.
Sign now, because every month or days, you cannot.
Very true. Yeah, it's true.
One thing.
Yep. We have a nice slide for the assignment letters assigned as well. But I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah, thank you. Now, basically, we have some screenshots from the Interreg Europe platform for the Pollinate project here, and basically we have the different tabs. You can see the green tick on the left of each tab, and basically the activity summary will look like this, and it will have sort of a helping line to tell you briefly describe the activities that have taken place in this reporting periods, and you need to be as explanatory as possible. And you need to talk about what happened, what kind of events you organized, what deliverables, what outputs and results you have, and you need to be as detailed as possible. Now, we'll go through several of these tabs, and just to say that this you do not need to save anything. You do not if you write it, it stays on server. Now, the suggested structure, I'm just providing a small example here. This will need to be done for everything you're reporting. If that is for the exchange of experiences pillar, for the first activities, it will have to look more or less the same. I'm just setting an example for the activity communication, where the province of West Flanders is actually the activity leader for this. And if you need to, when you need to actually report this, you will say that we developed, for instance, the Pollinate communication plan, because this is written on the AF as well. This is what is written that we should be done during the first semester. So we go see the AF and we see what actually we conducted during the first semester. So we developed the communication plan to guide partners' dissemination efforts. We prepared a stakeholder analysis, identified target groups, all partners, and the activity leader established KPIs and assessed the impact of the communication actions. We set up a social media. We prepared dissemination monitoring tool. We took this Pollinate website up and running. We provided the logo, templates. We prepared the first newsletter, a welcome video for the kickoff meeting, for instance, the Pollinate brochure, the poster, etc. We attended a third-party event. We issued a press release, and this all should be explained. I know it may sound trivial for some of you, it may sound obvious, but it needs to be reported precisely. For instance, for the stakeholder meetings, when, where, who participated. So it needs to have a specific format. I'm sorry if I'm getting too detailed in this, if I'm tiring you, but it needs to be said. Now, the managing authority, the JS, has prepared an example with singers. Paul Newman is on this example. So to have an example of the cost categories and how this table will look like for you to report your expenditures. So you will have, and we'll go through the categories one by one. Basically, this will look like this. You will need to have the employee name, the description of their role in the organization for the project. You need to assign them to a specific cost category, which is the first column here. You need to provide the date of payment, the currency, etc. So, as said, I'm going to go just back and forth for a little bit. First column, cost category, you can have staff cost, you can have external expertise and services, you can have equipment or infrastructure and works, which is not going to be used for our case. The category of travel costs and accommodation. And we're going to mention that is the 15% flat rate of staff costs for the travel and accommodation. If, for instance, we have several examples here. If, for example, in the first column for the cost categories, you have staff costs, then you don't need a contract number. If, on the other hand, you have to choose external expertise, and then you need a contract number, and if that contract is covering above 10,000 euros. So again, you don't need to worry. All this information is going to be online for you to go back and refer to whenever necessary. But it's good if we mention them together here. For instance, you need to mention the month in the third column. If you're having staff costs here, you see the application form item number of months. You need to describe what the cost is about. Oh yes, obviously the application form item number we mentioned earlier. Name of your employee. What is the document reference number based for the cost you're stating, invoice date, and date of payment. Each line describes one cost. Right. Okay, now I'm going further down. Okay. So for instance, what we've just mentioned is, and you can see this on the platform as well, these tables are just screenshots for our project. You can see these numbers anytime you wish. This is a breakdown of our budget per cost category per partner. So basically, for the LP, we have the preparation costs listed in the first column. We have the staff costs, office and administration, travel and accommodation, external expertise, budget assigned. As said, equipment and infrastructure, we don't have them as categories for any of us, and the total budget for each partner. And then you obviously at the end of every column, you have the addition for all partners. These are the ones stated in the beginning of the project, and if things changed, this will stay as such, but we'll need to explain to the JS if things need to change. So basically, preparation costs that we saw for the lead partner on the first row of the previous table. This was... so what does that mean? Basically, it's the cost that was charged for the preparation of the application. It's a lump sum per project, and it is paid after the PR1, after the first project approval. Attributed to the lead partner and reported as part of the costs by the lead partner. It is to be shared with partners. and there is no supporting evidence required since all of the partners have agreed and signed. Now the staff costs. Oh, yes. So basically that's the logic to be shared with partners. That I'll have to see when the time comes.
Just in the lump sum, so after the first report, when the partner makes their financial report approved, then the lump sum goes to the region, will be going to the region.
Of Peloponnese.
Yeah.
Just asking because for this project, we divide between partners, so it's.
I think it is due to the fact that they did the whole preparation of the application and the proposal and all. Yes, I think that if you have any more input. Okay. Now regarding the staff costs. So what they include basically is the payment of the salary, social security contributions, taxes, but that means that it is only paid to the staff employed by each partner's organization for the project, working directly on it. So not for associated policy authorities, basically. And what the documentation is for this staff cost employment. It's basically their contract with the organization. It is their task assignment letter describing that their role in the project will be this, why the salary payment is this, and you need to provide pay slips in any case, proof of payment, to identify real salary costs. And you need to be saying whether you're full-time on the project, and if not, you need to have a fixed percentage. So say you have 80% on the project, and then you have an extra 20% working on something else. But if that is the case, you need to state the exact percentage, and again, percentage of the real costs charged for this workload. Now again, I'm not sure if I've stressed this enough, your task assignment letter to be signed as soon as possible for the people working on the project, as suggested by a fellow lead partner in another project. Now, what this means is that you need to have a task assignment letter setting either your fixed percentage on the project or your full employment on the project for your specific employees at the beginning of the period. You need to have it dated, signed also by a line manager or a supervisor, just to have a final check for your role in the project and your organization. And you need to state how much time you're going to be devoting to the project per month. Also, a description of what it is you're going to be doing in the project in your organization. Monthly tasks assigned to the employee, and also provide evidence for the allocated time. This is reviewed during, for instance, it can be during the appraisal and adjusting throughout the respective period, the described tasks or the percentage of time dedicated. Yeah, it's not supposedly varying very often, but it should be calculated again and again if needed to be changed. Again, this little table is taken from the manual of the projects, which you can go through anytime. Now, this is basically how it looks like, this task assignment letter from Interreg Europe, and it will have the project acronym, the title of the project we're working on, who the partner is, who the employee is, working on this in this organization and on the project. It states the period we're working on, starting date, ending date, signed and dated by the line manager and supervisor in your organization, and if needed, to be reviewed and changed has to be done accordingly. Good. Now, proceeding to the office and administration cost category. This is generally calculated to be 15% of your staff cost category. So that means that it's a flat rate and it's automatically calculated. You don't need to support any document for this cost category. It is 50% always of your staff cost category. So it's given, it's paid through each approval of your progress report, and you cannot basically use it under other cost categories. You need to have it as a 15 flat rate of your staff cost. And what does the manual tell us? It tells us that, for instance, if your example says that if you have reported 36,000 as a staff cost, then you get 15% of that, you get 5,400 automatically for your office and administration expenditure. You don't need to provide any documentation. Same goes for the travel and accommodation. Basically, again, we have the 15% of your staff cost paid directly through the approval of each progress report of each semester. And it needs to be for the staff employed in the partner organization. You cannot report it under any other cost category. Automatically calculated. Again, the same example in the manual. Yes.
They have an interest or an expertise to bring in. Can we?
Then you will have to use. You have to use other categories for the expenditure provided by the JS. Sorry. Yeah. You cannot use that staff category, even if it's a colleague. You will have to use other categories provided. Yeah.
If staff member travels, you for any. If a staff member, permanent staff member of the organization travels, then you get reimbursed for the travel under this category. So every time you report staff costs, you're going to receive 15% of this amount, no matter how many, or if they even travel. Okay?
But that applies for the site visits, for the workshops, for everything that we gather to discuss about this project. Then you get. Yes. So for your accommodation, yeah. There is no, that's why we say that this is not, you don't need any supporting documents. And this is why Vasiliki said that even if they didn't travel, you don't need the supporting documentation.
You think it is stuff? Yes. No matter how much are you going to spend?
So bringing a colleague, if it fits within the budget, no problem.
Yeah, because
We are able to pay it, no problem.
if it's a call, yeah.
But it should be. So that's why I'm asking. No.
No, you do not need supporting documentation for this. No. Of the organization, yeah. So it should be staff member. Yes, so there is another category about the external expertise. And the expenditure is paid based on contracts or written agreements within your organization. And you need to provide related invoices or requests for reimbursement to have the external expertise and to subcontract any certain tasks or activities for the project. So for this, you need to provide documentation, contracts, anything agreed and signed for. And you need obviously to comply with public procurement rules, and you need to report activities and reported costs. What can we use the external expertise for is when we have, for instance, interregional partner meetings, or if we organize regional stakeholder group meetings, we can have external expertise to come and support us. It might be a matter or a subject we're not very familiar with and we need support, that's fine. And this is covering travel and accommodation of external bodies. It can cover regional, interregional dissemination events. For instance, we have in the Annex 3 that you have received organizing info days and final dissemination events. Can cover that. For management expenditure control, you can have in the Netherlands and in Belgium a specific category for the externals expertise, and then you have an exchange of experience activities that you can use that category for to have your external support. Again, for the external expertise, you need to have supporting documents to verify the costs that you are declaring, the expenditure that you are giving, and you need to have it available for control purposes. And that means you need to have evidence of the selection process, of how you picked this external for to help and aid you, and it needs to be in compliance with applicable EU, national, and internal procurement rules. You need to have a contract to provide to controllers and the JS. You need to have an invoice or request for reimbursement, and you need to have payslips and proof of payment, and somewhat an outcome and a result of what this actual external expert performed for you. Again, the category of equipment and infrastructure is not something that applies in our case. This is not something that we have budget for. We are not going to use these two categories, so I'm just skipping this. Now, regarding your financial reporting, who does what? So the lead partner is going to assign users, which is basically present people, to organizations and define their rights in the portal. All of us needs to get controllers as soon as possible, and you can also check the website for the details in your own countries. The timeline is to be set by the lead partner, and this whole process, as said before, happens on the portal, on the Interreg Europe portal. Remember, we don't even need to have a save button. This all happens saved automatically. We need to have, all of us, justified expenditure matching with the activities, dates of the meeting, dates of the traveling. They need to match. You need to prepare as soon as possible your task assignment letters for you people working in your organization on the project. You do not need to include costs when they're covered by flat rates in other cost categories. And for any unplanned expenditure, you need to check with the JS. It goes through the lead partner. Your question goes through the lead partner, and the lead partner asks the JS for the unplanned expenditure, as we are the contact point with the authority. Again, stating the obvious, we need to comply with the procurement rules. Now, this is what you can check on the Europe on the webpage, because we have in each country different systems, and each country has its own rules on how to perform the controls. You can have centralized controls, you can have decentralized controls, and you can follow the procedure and what is stated in your country accordingly. Now, this is what the Interreg Europe platform looks like. And you can see that we have categories for the approved projects. You can look for funding there, and we have the categories. We belong in the green category, the Pollinate project. You've seen this logo many times on on the presentations, we have this green logo on every slide. This is the category we belong in. And you can have on the website of the Pollinate project good practices uploaded. We can have the description of the project or funding, sort of outcomes from our meetings. We can discuss what was the result, what new ideas we have discussed and developed through our interactions, and this all can go on the website. Country-specific information you can also found in there. You can have the link. We can also see what happens in this funding period. We can have the manual. I've already mentioned the manual several times already for all projects, and we can follow the link for that. Again, points that we should pay attention to when it comes to reallocations. So the total budget of the project, obviously, we cannot change that. We cannot increase it. It is what it is. The external expertise and services must be below 50% of the total project budget. And this is a general rule. Also, if necessary, you can, if you find yourselves being stuck with other tasks within your organization, or if you have a workload, or if something occurs, what can happen is that between partners, we can reallocate a budget. And that is what we mentioned earlier as a 20% flexibility rule. We do not need to have this pre-approved by the JS, but for instance, this is something that might be discussed during a midterm review meeting with the JS, what happened, why that needed to be done. We don't need a pre-approval for it, but we need to say why that happened and why that needed to be conducted as a budget change or reallocation. Now, in the same partner, in the respective partner, we can have budget reallocated between cost categories. And again, we do not need to say, please let us do it to the JS. We do not need pre-approval, but we do need to say why we needed this to happen in the first place, since we had planned otherwise. What happens is, if we decide to change the staff cost budget, obviously, since we have a flat rate, this change will happen to the travel and accommodation category, and this will happen in the office and administration categories automatically. And then if you reallocate, this is not for our case, it needs to be approved, but these two categories, equipment and infrastructure, is not something that applies in our case, so I'm just going to skip this. So it is the lead partner's responsibility to monitor budget reallocations as requested by partners, but also towards the JS. So what the LP does is basically you can agree to minor changes. They need to be clearly justified. They don't need to check with the JS, but they will need to actually explain it to the JS. So the LP is responsible also for budget reallocations, even if it's below the 20% flexibility rule. And again, it needs a clear justification and detailed one. If this now budget reallocation becomes significant, if it's not clearly justified and the LP keeps on asking for information and this is not being provided, then we need to check with the JS. Because when it comes to the reporting time, if we do not have clear justification, this will become a problem. And you'll have back and forth clarifications coming from JS for months. Now, when it comes to the application form revision, requests for change, this will only occur when reallocating above the flexibility rule. If it's below, the application form is not getting revised. So when it comes to the reporting time, the policy reporting, we have tabs, and I'll show you also the screenshots for that. Tabs for details on policy instruments. You can provide the general information. You will provide, after PR3, policy improvements. Second tab is on the learning process, lessons learned, etc. Insight into the learning process during the core phase and the achievements, PR8. onwards. Yes, so in the second tab, we'll have stakeholder involvement, and we will be, again, very detailed on that. And yeah, the stakeholders list can be modified only at Pier 8, which is fine. Let's go and see how this looks like. So basically, the first tab is the policy instrument. As said, second tab, learning process, involvement in the platform, and then we have the submit button. Again, you don't need to do anything. You do not need to save once filling this. It's automatically saved. It also gives you a bit of a helping hand, listing the main activities in your region, contributing to the individual organizational learning. It gives you examples. Again, this is for the stakeholder meetings. And the second box is only for the associated policy authorities getting involved. If not, NA, not applicable. So again, we have some further examples of how it will look like, and it will ask during this reporting period, did you contribute? Provide examples. During the reporting period, did you use any services? So the LP is going to ask all of you to provide this information, and it's going to require all this information from the project partners. And then this will be compiled in one major report. Again, this is dedicated to the policy learning platform. Again, we have two links here, which you can use for further information and to distinguish a little bit, because these activities are not organized by the program secretariat. It's, for instance, the training days that have been mentioned on the Interreg website before. So it's a different story. But the JS does invite all partners to get involved in the platform activities, and they do like to see how you use and benefit from it. As mentioned many times during this presentation, the structure is that we anticipate a policy report by all partners to be conducted in order to have a joint report at the end for us to submit to the JS. When receiving a policy report from a partner, the lead partner can modify it, can ask for further information, and they can request as much information as necessary to verify the quality of the submitted policy report in the end. In the first tab, we have results, what we gained. The second tab is the lessons learned from all activities and interactions between the partners. And the third is the platform experience. Yes, so this is why we mentioned that this was actually the fourth step in the schematic diagram that we saw beforehand. That the fourth step is the joint progress report compiled by the LP. So once we have gathered all information and we agree that the required information is according to the JS standards, then it is compiled and submitted. So the structure and content here, it's basically overview of what we have gained from the project, what we have as a result, as an outcome. We have activities of the current reporting period, again, always versus the AF, exchange of experience, communication, and if a change has occurred from the original plan, we need to report it, we need to say why that happened and how we handled it, and what we expect to see in the future to reverse the deviation from the original plan. Now, the summary of project activities is set as an example here, and the respective tabs are going to look a bit like this. You have number of organizations across borders, number of pilot actions. Again, all this information is listed in the AF. We have a column there that says target in the AF. So you can always find what you originally had to do and compare it with what actually happened. Now, in terms of the first pillar, exchange of experience, we have a number of indicators, such as the interregional policy learning events organized. We do not count the stakeholder group meetings, and back-to-back events should be counted as one. That means a workshop with a meeting is one, for instance. The management of communication meetings is not counted in that, and we should identify the number of good practices, and we do upload them on the project website. We saw the project website a bit earlier, and we already mentioned that we upload our good practices. They do go through the JS as well in order to be recognized as a good practice, and it is required as well as means of disseminating the results and the efforts made within the project. And again, yes, the good practices validated by the project officers via the websites will count at the end of the validation of the good practices. Consistency, obviously, we need to describe the activities properly. We need to value our indicators and upload constantly on the website. What news we have, events performed, good practices developed and identified, and everything needs to be obviously in good time. Let's not upload an event 6 months later than it actually occurred. Now, the exchange of experience, again, it will look like this. This is what you have to compare it with. This is what basically the AF says for our project. This is the description, for instance, for the first activity 1 and activity 2. And this is what you will compare it to. This is basically what the Pollinate application form looks like. And you can say, okay, activity number 1, I had to do, I have to exchange best practices. Did I? How did I do that? What did I come up with? I had input by Promea, and I was guided by the LP. I was guided by the region of Peloponnese, and I documented territorial best practices. I have to state every step mentioned in the AF. What did I actually do about it? And for every activity and for every semester, you can see here, interregional policy learning events organized have to be 2. A number of good practices identified. We aim for 4. So every aim, every target, every goal is already set in the AF. And this is what you will, this is what you actually see when you come to the reporting phase. And for the reporting period, you need to describe in detail the activity and of the experience process. You need to fill in your fields. You have a number of words, and you will have to provide number of events organized, how many participants you had, and explained if something was changed of the process, if somebody could not join, and you need to be quite explanatory and justify if something changed. And you need to justify against the target. So we said we're targeting, for instance, in the first semester for 4 good practices. That's what we're aiming for. So by the end of the reporting period, you need to state how many good practices you identified. Communication is filled separately, but follows the same logic. This is what is stated in the application form for the communication. So activity leader, the province of West Flanders, and you will follow the same logic to state your outputs, also upload on the project website. If a video has been created, for instance, for the kickoff video, we have pictures taken, we will have videos that we can provide, we'll have a number of participants, we'll have maybe a newsletter that will, at the end of the semester, to explain what happened during the semester. We will have this one uploaded as well on the website, the brochure, everything. Follows the same logic, just a little bit of different input. If we have changes from the original plans, what happens then? In case of minor change, we need to describe it, explain why this happened, and explain how we're going to mediate this deviation. Explain how is this going to change our original plans, what consequences we have. And again, describe how we're going to solve this, how we're going to come back to the original plan, how we're going to fix this, or how do we catch up. Again, as detailed as possible. Now to the second tab, insight into project results. You have an overview of the project results. You can have an overview of the policy instruments. Again, the lead partner can go through the submitted policy reports by the partners and aid them, help them see the content, make sure of the quality of the content provided. And it is the lead partner's task to actually include it or reject it. All right. As said earlier, the changes, yes, we went through this, but the midterm review, this is in between the managing authority, the JS, and the LP during semester 4. And we have to have submitted the report for that. And we need to provide them with a more detailed overview of the project and how are things going, if things are going according to plan, if all partners are participating, if they're reporting costs, if they're actually actively participating, actively submitting their deliverables. You are supposed to provide this information. It is required. Now, if the project is accumulating significant underspending, then they have the ability to reassess the budget. So if they see that a partner is not participating, is not actually submitting costs, giving expenditure, has vanished, is not replying, and then this is what happens. You get significant underspending from their part. They have the ability to reassess their budget. Also, if they see that you cannot follow up and you cannot spend your total budget agreed from the beginning, they do have the right, after the midterm review, to conduct a budget reduction. It is their responsibility to do so if they understand that they have significant underspending. And obviously they do that in order to support other activities of the program. So this is something we do not want to get to. This is not something you do not want to, a point you do not want to reach. Again, we recommend that you get very explanatory when it comes to reporting your activities, your financials, everything. You need to have a clear link between what needed to happen and what actually happened. Be explanatory when it comes to events, to outcomes, to who came, who not, who didn't come, who participated actively, the outcomes, the deliverables, everything. Link it to the original plan. Make sure you state that you met your deadlines. And this is something that the LP is going to look for when you provide your progress reports. This is something that the LP will want to see. In order to avoid, again, having back and forth clarifications with the JS. So this is what the LP is responsible for. Just to check your information is accurate, your information is precise, your information is correct, and what the JS wants to see. So basically, we have also here a table essentially where we describe basic deadlines. It is not that this is mandatory. The only mandatory date here is the one in bold, where we have the submission of the progress reports to the JS, which is the 1st of February 2026. The rest of the dates are highly recommended. Let's put it like this. So to prepare your task assignment letters, your TAL, by all partners, it should be done by the end of July, in order for them to know what they're doing and to be able to see your submitted expenditure. Assign the FLC by the end of July in order for them to collect your financial evidence by the end of the semester. Your activity summary, as we stated earlier in the timeline, it would be nice if you had it submitted by the end of October. And as we mentioned, we can have a video call or another session to direct people on how they should be doing this properly. totally fine, as much as necessary. It is the LP's responsibility by mid-November, let's say 17th of November, to check the activity summary and the list of expenditures of all partners and send feedback if okay, if not okay. Partners should be submitting their report to their FLCs once checked by the LP, as suggested. By end of November, 20th of November should be all right, in order for them to receive the second level of control and validation submitted to the LP by the end of the year. This way, we have at least 2 weeks to go through the project progress reports, the financial reports, clarify any open points, in order to have our full combined progress report compiled and submitted by the 1st of February. Again, indicative dates, but it will ensure, if we follow these dates, it will ensure that we have things on time and on track. And in our experience, it is important to start early. Again, it is the task of the lead partner to be on top and to contact directly with partners' financial officers, conducting virtual meetings in order to monitor the deadlines, ensure that we'll have all necessary documentation submitted on time, compiled through the semester, submitted to the FOC at the end of the reporting period. It is the LP's job to make sure that the partner hasn't forgotten that the expenditure has to be certified by an independent controller. It is their responsibility, but we will need the partner's assistance on that. We do make sure that partners report in a timely manner to the LP, and then we have sufficient time to go through the information, compile the progress report, and be able to justify ourselves to the JS when time comes. Yeah, and I think that was it. Sorry if I kept you long, but this was it is very necessary in our experience, because these things are constantly mentioned to partners, and then you see that people just do the exact opposite. Yeah. Again, we are here to help. We're here to assist. Ask any questions before submitting. That's totally fine. It's way more helpful to answer to you than to answer to the JS. It's way easier, it's way faster. I'm just stating the necessary information, and from that point on, we're here to help. We can have an online meeting as suggested before the reporting period begins, it's not going to last that long. You will have heard it once. It's going to be faster and more to the point once we have the second meeting closer to October. And it will be a bit more practical, because you will have been in the project for like a semester already. You will have getting your task assignment letters. You will have gotten all signatures in, and you will have a better idea of what kind of expenses and expenditure you can report. It will be a bit clearer, but by then. Your mic is coming.
We're counting on disbursing budget on 36 months instead of 48. So for the first semester, we will exceed the planned budget for approximately 15%, but we will remain in the, of course, total budget amount.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Thank you.
It's perfectly fine. The mic is coming.
Can you go to your presentation?
Yeah.
Sorry for this.
I'll just flip the slides and you tell me where you want to.
In the policy report, where you have the screenshot from the portal,
Progress report here.
policy report, sorry.
Policy.
But we don't see, so we.
Oh. Okay. Let's go now. See.
Next one, here. Okay, just 2 comments here because JS stressed always this for each box. For example, for the first box,
Stakeholder
you
meetings
have to be very
details.
precise in your information about your stakeholder meetings, the participants, what you discussed, what were the results that were derived from these meetings. Also, if another event was organized within your organization and is related to the Pollinate project, you should complete this information. It's very important. For the second box, as Katerina explained, only the partners from Latvia, Slovenia, and Montenegro has to include
Fill this
information
box,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, and to
They have an associated policy authority. That is why.
and for the third box, also here you have to be very precise. Even if, for example, an activity didn't happen or didn't carried out. For example, this semester 1, we had a workshop and for a reason didn't organize, you have to put this information on
As
this
to
board.
why it was not organized, as to
you
what
need to
happened,
explain because
and how we're going to fix it.
yeah. So
Sorry? If it didn't happen, if there was a change in the original plan,
have to
you'll have to justify it. If it occurred, you'll have to describe it. But if something changed, as Alexandros mentions, you'll have to be very explanatory as to why this did not happen and what measures you've taken to actually make it happen in the future.
Yeah, or for example, that will participate in the kickoff meeting, you will have to put information what we have discussed. If you present some presentations or for some activities, you could also include this information. So be as very precise as you can be in order to have all the information.
See, I'm not the only one stressing this out.
Yeah, that was my comment. So thank you.
We have another question here.
We will make a switch in task assignments. We will actually hire someone on this specific project, but we just got the approval last week by signing the form, so we cannot predict at what precise time we will actually be
Have
able
this
to
person,
have this person. So we will have to make a switch somewhere. How will we be able to do that? And trying to make a prediction in the task assignment.
I think I'm not sure if it comes to predicting.
Will you report expenses for this person in semester 1?
No,
No.
since they don't know when
Okay.
that person is going to be hired.
Yeah, okay.
That's why. I mean that I'm
When you
not.
hire this person, you will make the first task assignment letter with a forecasting that you believe that it will take.
We will be
In the project.
in the first
Semester, yeah.
But somewhere in between, there will be a switch, which we cannot foresee the exact timing for that. So
No.
that will be a bit of a struggle, perhaps.
No.
Task assignment letter is per person, per team member. So we're not going to have a joint task assignment letter. So at the moment, we're making the forecast. Taking into account that you will be the only members that.
For the first semester.
You will task assignment letter
For
for this person. You can change
Actually,
and amend.
stop or change or amend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you
So-
can amend the task assignment letter anytime you wish, but the JS insists that we need to be.
Explaining why this happened
Yeah.
and why this was necessary.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you can amend it. That's not a problem.
example-
Just explain properly why this had to happen, but you can amend it. That's why I'm mentioning that I don't think that you will need to foresee and predict. No, once you keep on going with your own task assignment letters because you're actually on the project now. And when this changes, you prepare the new task assignment letter for the other person and you amend your own. No, it's just an amendment and adding an external expert on this.
no, I mean it's this. Yeah.
No,
It's not considered as a minor change or maybe it's for your organization only and for your.
it's within your organization, so it's perfectly fine. Are we all good? Yeah? Okay. Okay, that was it from my part. I'm sorry if I kept it too long. So right now, we have another presentation by West Flanders. Of course, we can have a small break now just to take some fresh air. And we come back in around 10, 15 minutes if needed. All right. Okay. I think there is one other person outside, but let's proceed because I see they're having a call. Thank you. We're just gathering the last people and we're starting in a minute. Okay, there they are. Wonderful. Okay, now we have everybody, and I think we should proceed with the last presentation for the kickoff meeting. And it's going to be by Province of West Flanders for the communication activities. We're ready for you.
Okay, so as mentioned before, the province of West Flanders is responsible for the communication activities, which will last throughout the entire period of the project. What are our communication objectives? It's all about visibility, it's all about dissemination, it's about engaging regional stakeholders. It's about being open towards the public in any possible way. That's just in big lines. I'm telling the story. What is important to know? It's an ongoing and evolving process. We will try to set out communication lines through a communication plan at the start. But that's not a Bible, that's not an ending point. We will be flexible during the process, during the project, to evolve, to adapt if needed. What is also important, Province of West Flanders is responsible for communication, but we cannot communicate anything if not provided by partners. We cannot send out newsletters if not provided, if there are no messages provided by partners to make part of newsletters. Duration, I told you. In fact, we have started already with the communication assignment. So impact is also based on what every partner will actually do within the Pollinate project. Everything starts with a communication plan. It's our task and assignment to develop a communication plan as a basis for what exactly will we be doing on the communication part. We will regard this as an external assignment. We will not do this ourselves. We will engage an external partner to help us fill out most of our communication responsibilities. So the communication plan is actually a kind of Bible sort of reference point. What will we be doing from a communications point of view? It's an ongoing process. It's flexible, so we will update it if needed. That will also be a part of this activity. About the communication plan, some major lines. What are our communication objectives? What is our strategy? Second point is a repetition of that. Identifying target groups, important task for anyone, any partner within this project. Tailoring communication towards specific target groups. Anyone who's involved in communication knows that this is a very important. Dissemination, which is how to make sure that acquired knowledge gets through to other parties, to other partners. So also an important objective to clarify in a communication plan. Communication plan also needs to contain an evaluation process to assess whether or not we have succeeded in communicating in the way we were supposed to. And all of that is a part of a communication plan. Target groups, you see here a listing of what possible target groups could be, but you will be asked within the process of gathering information for a communication plan to help contribute to what our target groups might be. I will not read what's on this slide. It's a list of possibilities of possible target groups for communication assignments. Digital tools, quite important in this modern times, of course. Just summarizing a website, we will develop a website for this specific IE project. 6 promotional reels. A reel is a short video. We will make one already
From the kickoff.
For the kickoff meeting. Newsletters, there will be newsletters each semester, I think, or
Each semester, yes.
So that's a thing we will launch in a digital way, and we will also aim to be present on socials such as those you're reading right here. Every action has targets. I will not read what specific targets are for any action, but as you know, from a reporting point of view, it's important that you tick what you're doing from a communication point of view and that targets are met. So we will help you, assist, and ask you to make sure that reporting is opposed to these targets as they are spread out here.
These are also in the AF listed.
And they are, yes. So what's important, we are responsible for this activity, but we are not solely responsible for communication. There is a managing role, but there is also a partner role. Summarizing, we cannot communicate anything if not provided by you. So that's the summary of each one's responsibility. The Pollinate website, a small overview of what we would like to show on the website. Policy instruments. This project is all about policy and changing policy, so it's important to lay an emphasis on policy instruments. A library showing good practices, showing documentation from cases, showing all that kinds of stuff. And contact, of course. I hope you will not need the website in the future to be able to contact any partner. We should get to know each other on a closer basis, but contacts will be added towards the website. And what's new, what's going on within the project, also pages will be met towards that. Yes. I will come to that. Yes. Foreseen activities in semester 1, we will have to make the communication plan, set up a common communication management tool, and answering your question, share with the fellow partners the project's branding kit, which is in fact a set of templates on how to communicate internally, externally about the project. Logos, anything like that. So you will be provided with the necessary materials to communicate in the correct way. Important that you do so the correct way. We will have to report on this, so it's important to follow templates as they are provided to you within the project. Your
responsibility to translate material that you will receive, but you will receive the document ready to be translated. And you will receive also a guide on how to approach stakeholders and how to disseminate properly. It is of a certain strategy so as to become more efficient.
a part of the communication plan as a whole. So is that an answer to the question? Yes, yes. Press kit for the media with specific formal instructions on how to do that. The project's mini site, social media pages, of course, a poster, brochure, kickoff teaser video, which is being developed as we speak.
Exactly.
Yes.
Very good.
All activities to be fulfilled by July 2025. So we have a bit of a short-term mission to get this accomplished. As I said, we are engaging an external partner to make sure that this happens all in time. Visual identity, the IE program lays out some certain standards from their part, but they will all be integrated in the templates as you will receive them. So I will not go deeply into that. You should be.
Logos, we will have everything that
Yes.
that is required to provide the message to the reader and the viewer every time. That is the whole purpose.
Yes, but if you use the templates, all these requirements will be fulfilled.
Exactly.
Visibility rules, quite briefly, you have certain obligations to meet when you organize events, when you publish publications. There's a GDPR thing which applies constantly. So also here, that's logic. And copyright, make sure that no one doesn't like what you're publishing or has
pictures, for instance, that
all of that.
yeah,
Yes.
that have copyright rules, etc.
So what's important? Wait for the communication plan, wait for templates to be reached out. And once that happens, you will have standards to use and practice in your communication activities.
The communication plan will also include the KPIs to be reached and what needs to be done per semester. So you will have a full detailed plan organized for you to know what you should do. And again, what you need to do will be given to you, ready to be translated and disseminated to your own target groups. So you'll have a very clear guideline and instruction on how to proceed.
Okay. I had one question in between. Are there others? No?
Okay. Thank you very, very much for this presentation. Thank you, everybody, for participating, for being active listeners, and for being so eager to have a seamless experience for this kickoff meeting. I'm truly hoping that we will continue the same way and we'll have a good communication throughout the whole project so that we manage to achieve everything in a timely manner and we won't be stalled or delayed in the process. Again, we will be in close contact throughout the whole project. I will make sure that all presentations will be uploaded on the online platform so you can go back to them and revisit if necessary. And we will be in contact via email, not only for, as mentioned, for the progress reporting, but everything in between. And I'll make sure that everything stays on track. Okay. Thank you all for today. The steering group. Yeah. I already received an email for the contact people, but make sure that you appoint your members from your organization for the steering groups. Appoint the members that will participate, and make sure to communicate them to us. I have received already, yeah. Okay. If we do not have any further comments going on, I think we can proceed with a closure. Yeah, okay. Thank you, thank you. Oh, Barakallah. Thank you, everybody. And enjoy your stay, who is ever staying in Greece, in Kalamata, for the next days. If you need anything, do not hesitate to contact us during your stay. If anything comes up, if anything occurs, let us know. We're able to help. And enjoy your time here.
Nice meeting everyone.
Very nice meeting everyone, indeed. It's still early, so make sure to enjoy your day.